Anna Young has been a graduate student assistant for the last year. She also acted as a facilitator, and today she's going to share some of her experiences with us. Thank you for being here, Anna.
Thank you.
So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, how does having a roadmap helps you do this job better?
Well, we put together the roadmap about a year ago, right when I started first facilitating, and it was kind of to connect what the instructors or the requesters wanted from their dialogues, and linking that with maybe what the students wanted or the community members wanted from the dialogues, as well as the guests. So I cannot stress the importance of the roadmap enough, because it's really important for getting all of that information together and synthesizing that into something that's coherent and something that you can actually follow while you're facilitating. It really maps out the strategies that you want to use, the kind of questions that you need to ask per the requesters' questions, or the students' questions, or what the guests want to also discuss, and it really puts all that together into something that you can actually follow kind of step by step, in a way, to where you have your icebreaker, and then you have your transition questions, your wrap-up questions, some clarifying questions, and then it also gets you into the mindset of maybe, for instance, tying course content together with the kinds of questions that should be asked, as well as, you know, making sure that you're covering all of your bases of things that want to be discussed, and that kind of thing.
So what do you think a good introduction is so important for a successful dialogue?
A good introduction is really important because it not only introduces you as the facilitator and, you know, making it very explicit why you're actually there, and in addition to that, it also helps really lay out that this is not a presentation or a panel, but it's really a conversation to be had among the participants, and you're just there merely to facilitate, not necessarily to dictate or to profess any kind of particular viewpoints or anything, but you're really just there to help the conversation along. The introduction also really helps set the tone for the kind of discussion that will be underway. It also sets the expectations for the dialogue, so the students and the guests and the community members and even the instructor, if he or she wants to participate, really know that this is not a passive experience. It's really interaction focused and that kind of thing. It's really experiential, because everyone is sharing their own viewpoints, and we kind of go over the ground rules within the introduction as far as those expectations go.
So one of the things that we always say is that as facilitators, we create a comfortable environment. So how do you do that?
I think one of the biggest strengths that I bring to facilitation is the fact that I am a student, and I know what it's like to be in the classroom and to kind of have conversations in the classroom and that kind of thing. So I think it's a strength of mine that I'm able to relate to the students, and the students are able to relate to me. And I also have experience interacting with professors and people like that, so it helps kind of create that relationship and kind of make those expectations really explicit and that kind of thing. Me personally, I think, in addition to me being able to relate to the students and the guests and that kind of thing, I'm able to come into a dialogue with the mindset that I can be really calm and really collected, and I think that is something that helps set that tone for the dialogue, that I'm not there on a tirade or to advocate for anything or to really push my viewpoints upon the students or the participants. It's more that I'm there to kind of help things along, and I do so in a very calm and collected manner, I think, and I'm really there just to sit down and to make myself an equal among them, and more often than not I actually do sit down in the circle that we create, so they know from my body language and my tone that I'm not being confrontational, or I'm not doing anything that would alarm them or make them uncomfortable, and I'm really there just to connect with them. So I try to make eye contact with them. I try to connect, maybe one student's comments with another student's comments, or really try to be intuitive as far as if one student says something, I can connect it to maybe a guest's experience that I know, and that kind of thing. Additionally, I think it's really important to create a rapport with the guests beforehand. I think that would make your guests feel more comfortable, and they can kind of come in with the mindset that they're there to share their experiences, that it's not, them sitting on a panel, so it's not putting them in the spotlight or anything. I think that's really important. So really being able to connect with the guests, even 3 or 4 minutes before the dialogue, if you just introduce yourself and say, I'm the facilitator, this is kind of what's going on, maybe this is what we're going to be talking about today, these are some of the students' questions, this is what they kind of want to know, that kind of thing. I think that's important because you're really making the guests an integral part of the conversation without, putting them in the spotlight kind of thing.
Right. So finally, what other advice would you give to future facilitators?
Like I said, I cannot stress the roadmap. Roadmap's importance enough. But I think going along with that, it's really mentally preparing yourself, and I think that's the roadmap is a tool for being able to mentally prepare yourself for dialogues. It's really important to go into a dialogue with the mindset that you can be calm, that you can be someone who's there just to facilitate and not dictate anything. I think it's also really important to be present when you're a facilitator, to really be in tune with what each person is saying, with also keeping in mind the larger purpose of that particular dialogue, to really kind of draw things together and really make those connections, I think is really important. So being present is one of the key ways to actually being able to do that. And also being awake. Sometimes the dialogues are at 8 a.m. and myself, I'm not a morning person, but it's really important to, while also being present, being awake and being aware of what's actually happening, what's going on, what people are saying, kind of drawing maybe in between the lines of what's going on and that kind of thing too. So I think that's really important.
Thank you, Anna.
You're welcome.